He came in the door, and I can see on his face that something had happened. I'd seen it before, but he wouldn't talk about it. So I just said, I need to know. And he leaned over to me and whispered, the reptilians, those reptilians. And I didn't quite understand if he was talking about a lizard who lived in the desert, but it took me a while for him to just keep looking at me, and I would kind of make my mouth to where I'd say, "Not from here," and we'd talk to death, and then he just went into the drinking. He didn't move, he didn't want to go out of the house, and from that point on, he was not happy in his heart. It became very difficult for him and for myself to deal with the energies that he would bring home. Very, very heavy energies. And I knew he was struggling with it, and he was angry about it. He would come home again, those reptilians. But he would say it so low, and I had figured out that it was literally some kind of intelligent reptilians that he was working with.
How did this evolve to a point where he finally wanted to show you?
I would say within a month. I said, okay. It was the very first time he really had me get in and go with him anywhere. If somebody said, can you describe Edwards Air Force Base? I go, yes, I know where I live and some parts of the base, but it's mostly 99% restrictive. You're not going to just wander around Edwards without people knowing you're there. So because he was the flight chief over all of the security over this base, I went with him, and the first place he took me was out in the desert near the space shuttle that had come in, and it was just parked out on one of the landing strips. He said, take some photographs. Isn't that amazing? Take photographs. And later I understand I had to take the photographs because he couldn't. It was against the regulations for him to do that. I took the photographs, and then he drove me towards the tarmac, towards the hangars. So we went towards these groupings of hangars, huge hangars that would hold airplanes, test models. It was a place for testing different rockets and jets. So they have huge hangars. And he parked near one, and he said, okay, just kind of nodded to me to get out. I wasn't sure what to do, but I just followed him. I was his wife, and he just walked in, and nothing was said or paid attention. I just went straight in. And as we got into the hangar, he went to the right, and there was just a wall with a kind of like a square box, and it looked like an elevator might be there. It had a steel door across it. And he put in a code, and it opened, and sure enough, it's an elevator. And we went inside. I was kind of amazed. We went down. It was quite a ways. We ended up on a particular floor. I'm sure we went past many floors. But as we got off the elevator, there was vast caverns. You could go to the right, the left. So we walked down one particular cavern, and as we got down a ways, he stopped. We got in this one area. You could say like little offices, but everything is cement. He just leaned against the wall to the left, and he kind of nodded to me to look in the window. And the window was small, rectangular, with very thick glass. And I reached up, I looked in, and it almost stopped my heart. In there was a reptilian being, fierce looking, probably about 7 feet. And just as I was gazing in, it turned its head, and it had the reptilian face with an elongated nose, but it had an apparatus over its mouth. It looked like a lizard person standing up, but the hind legs were much bigger, stronger, arms and muscular chest, green skin, scaly, different colors of green too. Sharp claw-like hands.
And those hands that were claw-like, if you were comparing to an earth life, what would it be closest to?
Mm-hmm. If you just picked your hand up and you kind of curved it.
5 fingers.
5 fingers for sure, yes. Each finger was about 1 inch wide, and then the claw would just kind of dip over the nail, which gave it a claw-like look.
What greens were you looking at, and could you describe in detail the eyes that you could see?
The color would be like a dark olive green. If you took grass and you darkened it, look at a frog. You know, the green frogs are usually kind of a darkened green. Mm-hmm. All across the face, down dark. Maybe just the lightning is inside of the neck. I felt it was a male. Didn't feel female at all, or androgynous, but it was very menacing. The inside of the hands were very light in color, pale yellow. The tail, all the way back to the tail, was very dark. The eyes, yellow, really deep, like cat eye yellow, deep yellow. If you took cat eyes and you turned it sideways and elongated it, it would be something like that.
The cat has a vertical pupil in that yellow.
Huge almond eyes, but the slit would be vertical. They had a slit in their eye.
Did you stay at the window as long as you wanted, or what happened?
Oh, no. The moment it looked around, it pierced my heart. It was like it scanned me. And I jumped back from the window, and I almost fell on the floor. I was trembling.
Where was your husband standing at that moment?
Oh, he was standing to the left of the whole window, and he was satisfied that I understood what was going on. He needed me to know. He wanted the world to know.
Now, can you take us to the discussion you had with your husband about that reptile?
We came home, and that night we did not speak. There's nothing to say. I just had to hold it in. It wasn't too long after that the Icemen, I call them the Icemen, came to our home, and we're talking about a day or so. What that looks like is a knock at the door. I answer. Ernest is there. The man with steel blue eyes, heavy set, with other men behind him, is at the front door and says, "We need to speak to Hunt." And I just opened the door because what are you going to do? And they came in, and Ernest came out and said, "You need to just go and sit in the bedroom quiet. Just sit in the bedroom quiet." And after they had the discussion, I realized that our lives were in danger. My daughter, myself, and Ernest. Whatever had transpired wasn't good. I don't know if it was because he took me down there or whatever it was, but it wasn't good. So when I came out, I said, "What are you going to do?" And he said, "I'm going to get us out." And I said, "Well, with what we know, I don't think they're going to let you out." And he said, "I will get us out."
That year of 1977, Ernest Robert Hunt was able to negotiate an honorable discharge after his service to the United States Air Force. Then he and Celestine and their daughter headed to Northern California. Sadly, 2 years later, the couple divorced in 1979. Decades later, after Ernest died at age 66 on September 21st, 2014, Celestine honored his life journey to galactic consciousness. Is there any specific reason that your husband gave you after his honorable discharge about why we were working with reptilian entities that were intelligent and clearly another life species cohabiting with us on the planet?
He talked about basically it is about the control of the Earth, and this species has the ability to take over the Earth. But they're working in alliance with Strategic Command in exchange for certain things that I was not privy to, but I know that he told me that there was 2 levels in exchange for technology. I'm giving this information because it's historic, and my husband put his life on the line for humanity. There's a whole life of humans traveling from Earth, and you, Linda, have been very instrumental in bringing the information forward through officials and whistleblowers, you know?
Right.
But I'm saying from a wife that has witnessed, I know without a doubt, there is other species that our government is working with, period. Case closed. That's it.